back on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast. Oh, wait a minute. It's the Zoom edition today with the head coach of the New Mexico Lobos, Coach Richard Pitino. Coach, it's a pleasure following you from Minneapolis now last fall into Albuquerque.
Yeah, it's exciting. Sports is an amazing profession to be in because it can take you to so many cool places, and this will be my third head coaching stint. This will be year 10 of being a head coach, and I go from Miami to Minnesota to New Mexico. So I don't know what's next, Alaska maybe, but I'm really excited about it. It is if there's a benefit of COVID, and there's not many,
right.
I haven't had to travel much. See, I got the job, and you're doing a lot of Zooms. Normally when you get the job, you don't feel like you know the community for at least a year, because you're just traveling through recruiting and so on. But it's been great. I got to meet some great people. It's a great basketball job. So I'm very, very fortunate to end up here.
Yeah, as you looked on the grid of jobs and you come across New Mexico, the Lobos, the Pit, what attracted you to this position? Why did it make sense for you?
Well, Minnesota, I really enjoyed living there for 8 years. I had 2 children born there. I've had some really good friends there. I've been there, 8 years is a long time as a head coach, especially in the Big Ten, which is such a competitive league. Mm-hmm. But my frustration with it, and I don't think it's anybody's fault, is I don't think it's a top 3 job in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. You're fighting for 8, 9, 10. I mean, it's very, very hard. And, we got hit with a lot of injuries that just made it very hard for us to do that, as well as things that I could have done better with. But I had a chance. I could have sat out for a year and not worked. But I when New Mexico called, I said, I really believe this is one of the best jobs in the Mountain West. I truly believe it. So it's when I got to speak to Eddie Nunez, who I knew a little bit before, and his vision of what it is that he's looking for, I said, you know what, this could be a lot of fun. Go to a place that I've not spent a lot of time with, but get out kind of in the West, in the Southwest, and see the world a little bit, and go compete against some really good programs. So I believe you can win championships here. They did it as, 6, 7 years ago, they did it. It's not like
Sure.
They did it 30, 40 years ago. It can be done.
Yeah. As you look at this now, how did you start to lay the culture and foundation of the program?
Well, when we got here in the spring, I'm going on almost 2.5 months here.
Sure.
We needed to make sure that our guys understood what the cornerstone of the program was going to be, and that's going to be skill development. So a lot of our workouts were just trying to develop them, with also an understanding of, hey, it's only March, right?
Sure.
We're not really starting until November, but getting to know them, getting to know them as people, seeing if kind of their vision is in alignment with what it is that we want as well. They didn't win a lot of games last year, but I will say they were put in a very, very difficult position with COVID. They weren't able to play a game in the state. They were on the road the whole time. So, finishing that semester the right way, academically is very important. You got to embrace, if you're a college coach, every facet of this job. And, they're not professionals as much as they're trending that way. I mean, very important to get them to be accountable, to go in class, on time, and study halls and tutors and all that stuff.
Yeah. As I look at the program right now, I'm curious as what maybe the biggest challenges have been since coming in, and in some things that were maybe there that you could just, kind of work upon.
Well, I think when you say New Mexico, it's a different state. It's not like
right.
Ohio, and it's not a knock on it. So one of the beauties in recruiting is you get them here for a 48-hour visit, and they go, wow, this is beautiful. Wow, the facilities are amazing. You go out to dinner, and the community knows such and such recruit because this is a basketball state. I mean, they're obsessed with it. So that's the unique challenge of, okay, we're not going to be able to do the 48-hour visit. Well, now we got to get our ducks in a row with the digital side of doing the Zooms and all that stuff. But turning around a program, that won 6 games on Zooms is not normal. Normally
Right.
you're out on the, plane, you're getting in open gyms and so, but there's also the uniqueness of the transfer portal as well. So we feel like we've gotten some really good players through the transfer market, a bunch of them. And I'm not even a huge transfer guy, to be quite honest. I started 4 last year in Minnesota, but that's just the way the game is trending. And you're going to have to do it. And so, credit to our staff. I wanted to put together a great balanced staff that works well together. I constantly tell our guys, what we ask of the players, we're not asking any differently of you. You got to work together as a team, and our staff has done that.
I know your guys' style of play well, but I wanted you, if you would, just to kind of chronicle it for the fans out there and the people who may not know as much.
Well, listen, every coach wants to play fast, right? But
Yep.
I would say this, we're going to have opportunities to play fast. That would be when we get a stop defensively. Then we can get out on the break. Then it could be 5-on-4, 4-on-3, 3-on-2, etc. But I want us to be about toughness first. I mean, when you spend 8 years in the Big Ten, we want it to be very, very physically and mentally challenging to beat us. And it's got to be about great defensively, getting to the rim. We're going to shoot a lot of threes. We want to get fouled, but then conversely, we don't want to let them get to the rim, whether it's rotating the block shots, disrupting them defensively, keeping them off the foul line. But again, do I know how good we're going to be in year one? I really don't. I mean, I think the summer when we get everybody here, you'll be able to gauge it a little bit better. But as I told my team in one of the first meetings, I want that to be really, really hard to beat us, to where, they're fatigued when they see us. And as I said before, the cornerstone of what it is that we're going to be about is going to be skill development. We're going to obsess over it. I think every coach has that practice plan that they draw up, and they take a percentage of, maybe it's shell defense, maybe it's rebounding, maybe it's zone, right? Like Syracuse. We're never going to deviate from skill development. We're going to obsess over it.
Yeah, skill development coming in as you have 7 new players that I've counted so far, 5 transfers. Taryn Todd comes over from TCU. I know DJ Jenkins was a really strong junior college shooter. And then you've got 2 guys who are the sons of people I remember watching play. Of course, Jamal Mashburn, who was with you at Minnesota, and then Jalen House, whose father, Eddie House, could literally torch the nets.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like I didn't specifically set out for that. Obviously with Jamal Mashburn Jr., I tell his dad and I tell the kid this all the time, like, yeah, there was a connection, but I really didn't recruit you because of my father and your father. I recruited you because I really liked you as a player. And, it's rare these days when you have loyalty. And when I made the change, it just says a lot about him as a person and his family, because they didn't think twice. Like I didn't have to sell it. I mean, he was like, we signed up to play for you, and that's where we're going. Jalen House was a guy that kind of came on our radar, and the more film I watched on him, I'm sitting there going, this is a Pitino type guard, disruptive, electric. Taryn Todd, KJ Jenkins. I mean, we added a lot of good players. But on paper, it's exciting because it's a totally different roster. But we gotta find a way to. Anytime you're bringing in 7, 8, 9 new guys,
right?
It's going to take some time to gel. But I feel like we added a lot of guys who want to win and want to get better.
I was curious how many scholarships you have left, if you intend to use those, and then as far as recruiting or the portal.
Yeah, I mean, the hard part is, you're never really done. And I've never been a recruit over guys or run guys off. I just don't believe in that.
No.
But I tell you what, coaches would be silly right now to not continually recruit because, I mean, it's even to the point now where you bring kids here in the summer, they may not like it and they may say, "Okay, I'm going to go somewhere else." A lot of universities are not even fully open, so you don't have that normal college experience. And a young kid may come out of high school and say, "This doesn't feel right." So you're always recruiting. You're always being honest with everybody to the best of your ability, but also with an understanding of it is volatile right now. And it's volatile everywhere. It doesn't matter. I think Kansas, I saw they had 8, 9 new players. I mean, programs that don't normally have that. So always recruiting, always keeping options open, with also pouring your heart and soul into the guys that are on board with you.
Coach, do you think that this is the way of the future, or is it something where the pandemic, they gave them, a year because of that, and then they have the free years, so it looks like they're going to be able to move twice here in a short period of time?
Yeah, I mean, our profession is all about wins and losses. Unfortunately, there's what your fans, the media, some administrations judge you by, right? I mean, Chris Peterson had a great podcast that talked about if you coach, you better operate on a different scoreboard than the one that the fans and the media and even your boss, and they're all good people, but
Yeah.
it's unfortunately the pandemic has affected everybody, right? Not just in basketball, but everybody. And a kid is not going to feel as connected if he's playing in front of no fans.
Right.
He's not going to feel as connected to the university if there's nobody on campus. So I think that the NCAA did the right thing on opening it up because I just think it's too volatile right now. But we got to figure out how to stabilize it a little bit, But it's a trying time for everybody. It's not just college basketball. I mean, everybody's just dying to get back to normal. I do think when kids start to feel that normal college experience again, they may not be as quick to transfer as they once did.
I know the NABC and the Rules Committee had met, to talk about potential rules changes. I was curious if there was anything that came out of there that, you think's beneficial as of now.
I mean, I think the beauty of the NABC is they have the sport's best interest at heart.
Exactly.
I really think they do. I mean, there's some good people on there. There's a lot of former coaches, and we've got to figure out, and I don't know specifically what just yet, but the NBA is a great brand, but it's
Yes.
a competitor. It's a competitor of ours. They're not working with us. Do they want what's best for us? Sure. But that is a, powerhouse in itself. So we need people fighting for college basketball. And the NABC has done that. And I know they're going to continue to do that because I understand money. Everybody's obsessed with money, but going to college is the best time of your life. Playing college basketball is a special experience. And the good people at the NABC have been fighting for us there.
I was wondering if the GLeague scenario and then, the GLeague, I guess, select team, is that something that you guys as college basketball coaches could have to recruit against?
Yeah, of course. I mean, because, right or wrong, I think with social media and with the phones, I think everybody knows what everybody has. And it's created this, well, I want what he has. He's got that. And I know how much money he makes. And I'm better than him. So I want to make that money. And
Right.
it's just, I don't think it's good for anybody, right? I mean, there's that expression, comparison, is the thief of joy. But yes, I think the GLeague paying, they're competitors, and so you've got to find a way. Maybe it's through the NIL, right, where you can profit off your name, image, and likeness, to show these guys that the value of the degree is worth this, right? But also show them other ways to where they understand that playing college basketball is just as much of an experience as maybe going to the GLeague. And our exposure in the college game, it's not even close. You're playing every game on TV. You're playing in front of sold out crowds. I hate that a lot of players are being robbed of that, but I also understand.
Last thing, Coach, I told you when we had done the podcast earlier, your father, the great Rick Pitino, is one of my favorite people in any sport, coach, player, whatever. I was just curious if you would comment on the job Iona did this year, and with the four, I think, COVID pauses, winning the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference tournament, leading Alabama with 10 minutes to play, and just being competitive as heck. I mean, what a
I would
job.
say, like, am I surprised that he went to the NCAA tournament? Of course not. I think he's, in my opinion, he's top two or three, maybe John Wooden, Mike Krzyzewski, and him,
Mhm.
of coaches ever to coach a college basketball. So zero surprise that he was able to do it. But like you said, I believe they had the most COVID disruptions of any team in the country.
Mhm.
And as we all know, because the fans and the media, they don't care about that. They just, if the games are played, you got to win it. The COVID disruptions, like in all walks of life, it affects you. And you could have a player miss 2 practices and he's rusty. These guys are missing 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That is challenging. So amazing. Not surprised at all by it. It's a great lesson for a young coach like me. I mean, I'm going on year 17 in this profession and
Mhm.
year 10 of being a head coach. But I'm blown away by his love of coaching still. He just loves it. And
Mhm.
that's it. That is an inspiration to me. And I think that for all coaches, they need to see that. He's at Iona. He was at Kentucky a few years ago in Louisville in the Celtics, and he's at Iona, and he coaches like he's with the Celtics right now.
Yeah. Coach Richard Pitino, many thanks, Coach. Looking forward to seeing what happens with the Lobos, and I hope we can get you back on and do this sometime in the future.
I appreciate you having me. You're doing great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mhm.